Welcome to Collaboration Conversations. I'm your host, Regina Partain Bergman. I am CEO of Bridgeport Strategy and host of the podcast Pursuing Profit with Principles. I am delighted today to bring you another guest co-host and the panelists that she has invited, and I can't wait to get to know these ladies. They all look amazing. And so let me introduce my co-host, Yvonne. And Yvonne, I didn't check with you. Is it Marchese?
It's Marchese.
Marchese. I got
Yes.
close. I always try to
Dude,
check.
you did really
Sometimes I
well.
forget.
Mostly it comes out Marchese is usually the first guess. And I do go by Cheese. If you want to call me Cheese, that's totally fine.
Well, I do strive to get it right, so I'll work on that. So Yvonne is a storyteller, an age agitator. I love that. Helping people rethink aging. So Yvonne, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here as co-host today.
Thank you. It's an honor. I am very pleased to be here, and especially with my crew around me. I can't wait for this conversation. It's
Awesome.
like collaboration. Let me just say, was a topic that is custom made for this particular group of people.
Woohoo! That excites me tremendously. Yvonne, would you share a bit about your journey? What's brought you to this place in life? Who you serve and why?
Ooh, where to start? Let me start with who I serve and why. And
Okay.
that I think will lead us back into what got me here. I serve people in midlife and beyond who might be feeling stuck, who might be feeling like it's too late, who are looking in the mirror going, who is that? Who don't feel like, who may feel like they missed the boat in some way, shape, or form. And so I started a podcast called Late Bloomer Living. And I think maybe not everybody identifies as a late bloomer, but here's the thing. I think everybody is a late bloomer in some way, shape, or form in some area of their life. And we get to this point in our life where we feel like we're supposed to have it all figured out. And you can look around you and go, well, they have it all figured out. What's wrong with me? That's the person I'm serving, is the person who in some aspect of their life, they just feel like there's a nut they can't crack. There's something that they always wanted to do that they never did. And basically it's like you serve the people who, it's like you like this much time in the past, right? So in my 40s, I was having a hard time. And by the time I got to about the age 48, I had a little awakening moment of I have got to change the trash talk in my head that is happening every day, the constant complaints that are just floating around in my head all the time. And I started doing a lot of self-help inquiries, and I came across the idea of doing a morning routine. And I was a mom to younger kids at that point in time with a full-time job and a lot of stress. And I thought, the only way that I'm going to get a hold of myself is to try this out. What could it hurt? So I gave myself a 30-day challenge of getting up in the morning before my kids, before my husband, and meditating every day, moving my body, and just having some me time. And it was a game changer. And once I started to feel better, which was in pretty short order, within a couple of weeks of that, I was like, wow, this is different. And I realized after I started feeling better that I started to feel hopeful about my future. And I evidently hadn't been very hopeful about my future up to that point. But I started to, when I felt hopeful, I thought, where is this coming from? And I realized that all through my 40s, I had been telling myself that it was too late, that it was all downhill from here. I was looking at myself in the mirror going, yep, you're getting old. Oh, sure. You've got bursitis. You've got bunions. Yeah, well, you're falling apart. You're old. That's what happens. And it was a constant thing in my head. And I realized, wow, that is not serving me one little
No.
bit. And I wonder if anybody else feels like that. And that's what got me to start the podcast.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
That is amazing, and such a need for it. So many people get that trash talk going in their head about themselves. Yeah. I catch myself sometimes and thinking, well, I haven't achieved as much with this business as I want. And so I must be a failure. Wait a minute. I built a $5 million business in the past. I can do this. I'm not a failure. We have to kick those voices out. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Yvonne. So you have brought some amazing women with us as our panelists today. Would you please introduce each of them, have them share a bit about their journey, who they serve, and why?
Yes, absolutely. Quick point of reference here, first of all, or point of procedure, parliamentary point of procedure here,
Parliamentary
Regina.
public procedure.
Do you want me to introduce them and have them say their why immediately, or should I
Yes.
go through and introduce
Yeah,
everybody
one
and
at a
then
time. One at a time
perfect?
and have them tell their story. Yeah.
All right, sounds great.
Awesome.
Well, I'm going to start with Princess Kim White there in the red. And Kim White is the fierce leader of the My Sexy Business team. She is my business coach and confidant, and she is one of the first people who started to teach me the real value of collaboration and the power of it, because that
Mm,
is something that she holds as a near and dear value in everything she does. And I'll let her take it from there.
awesome.
Thank you, Yvonne, and thank you, Regina. I have to say that the biggest thing for me, origin wise, is that I've been an entrepreneur all of my life. I can recognize it all the way back to kindergarten. And the problem is, I didn't know anyone else who was. And so, whenever I would find myself alone and trying to figure something out, I needed a community around me. And as I got older and figured things out, that's exactly what I have done. Is like we have built a community, and it is a we. We have built a community of collaborators and incredible business owners. So that is my claim to fame. I am obsessed with collaboration, just for the record.
Woman after my own heart.
Terrific. Well, I'll pass it on to Jill Olish, who is amazing. She is kind of Jill's right hand, we'll just say, on the My Sexy Business team. And Jill is an entrepreneur in her own right who started an organization called Outspoken Mama, or Mama's Outspoken, excuse me, I'm backwards. Mama's Outspoken. And she helps keep all the wheels moving over at My Sexy Business. She's like the if you think about the Wizard of Oz and the wizards behind the things there, that's the way I think of Jill. She's back there pulling levers and doing all kinds of things to keep everything rolling. And Jill, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Well, I, again, am Jill. I am a first-time mom and entrepreneur. I started my entrepreneur adventure because I became a mom and I needed to find a solution to what was I going to do for work and not put my son into daycare. So I went in to be a virtual assistant. I found Kim through a course that I was taking for virtual assistant learnings, and that has been history for the last almost 4 years now for us. And Kim really helped pull out a call that I had to help other moms from what she had seen, as well as from what she puts into her business. So I started Mama Outspoken to help moms find their voices, be heard, advocate for themselves, and spread awareness for motherhood transitions, as I had myself difficulty with postpartum depression, anxiety, and rage, and am on a healing journey as I go through figuring out business and life as a mom. Yeah. So
No small feat. No small
None.
feat. I'm just going to say, Jill and I just did an interview for my podcast. I interviewed her to talk about this intergenerational motherhood experience. I am 20 years older than Jill and have and I had children late. So my kids are teenage, young adult, and she's got a little. And I think about back when I had littles and couldn't even have imagined trying to start a business at that
Yeah.
point. I just, yeah, blows me away. So that said, I'm going to pass it over to Donna Bender. Donna is, she has a storied history. Let me just start there. She was in corporate in the fashion industry for many years. And as a mom who wanted to stay at home, ended up starting her own clothing line for children, and eventually found herself moving across the country and finding herself in the position of making the choice that Jill had to make. How am I going to support my family? And so she also decided to become an entrepreneur at that point. And I think we're talking about 17 years. Well, how many years later, Donna?
I'll be here in Dallas 19 years in July.
19 years. And so she started a business with branded products, and now she built that business by getting to know people. She didn't know anybody in the new town that she was in. And so she started networking and meeting people and giving gifts without strings attached, but just giving gifts when she'd meet people, giving gifts, and just built relationships on that. And she now is a certified givologist and teaches other people how to build their business with the same sort of method. Donna, I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you, Yvonne. That was lovely. I hope we can get a clip of this. That was a lovely introduction.
You'll have the whole thing.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Regina. It's a pleasure meeting you and to be amongst my fellow partners in crime and other collaborators. Yeah, I mean, Yvonne gave you my whole story. I started in the fashion industry. I had a wonderful career working for Calvin Klein and Ferragamo, and in a high profile position. And I like to say I learned everything that I know on the job because I went to school for speech pathology. And so everything I learned while I was working with them, and saw how they were able to build relationships by communicating and giving gifts and talking to people. Because we were having this conversation the other day. There was no social media. You had to have conversations with people. You know, you met people in person, and you took them to lunch, and you did all of those things. So I had a wonderful career. My daughter was going into high school at the time. I lived in New York City, and we lived in a great neighborhood, and she got into a high school at the other side of town, which I would have had to worry about every day of her transporting herself on either the subway or bus. We had already gone through 9/11 in New York, and there was no way I was doing that again. And an opportunity happened for the person I was dating at the time in Dallas. And so, like the Beverly Hillbillies, we just picked ourselves up and we just moved cross country with the turtle and the cat, and the turtle in a 20-gallon tank, and got to Dallas. And I really, really, ever since I had my daughter, wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And it never seemed to happen. So when I came to Dallas, I was like, okay, now it's going to finally happen. And I found out the person I was with did not have that job opportunity. And now I had to figure out what I was going to do. And so I did start in a brand new industry in another side of the country. And that is really how I got to meet people and build relationships, by thanking them for meeting with me, thanking them for the information that they could give me. Because the people here in Dallas, it was, you know, they would just pick up their arm and like take me under their wing. I mean, they were just so warm and welcoming. And that's how I got to meet people, you know. And, you know, I laugh sometimes, but, you know, I really didn't know a soul except for my boyfriend and my daughter. And by doing that, and that's what I love to do, is my mission right now is I've written a book about this, but my mission and my legacy that I would love to have right now and have it move in this direction is to work with teams in corporate America and working with younger people and teaching them how to build relationships and go beyond the digital age of just dealing with things digitally, and how, there's other ways to build sales. And I don't think they're learning that. And so I would love to be able to, I always like to mentor people. I always like to give and educate. And so that is what I would like to do in this chapter of my life.
Love it.
That's
Fantastic. And last but certainly not least, I would love to introduce my salty sister. She is my salty sister in an official capacity because we do a live stream every other Friday called Salty Sisters. And besides that, though, pre-Salty Sister time, Kat is an Air Force veteran. And she has been since before she left the Air Force, she started doing fitness training, and she started training other people in fitness. And when she got out, found herself in that weird space that people find themselves in when they leave the military, is like, what is next? And so she established herself as a well sought after Pilates instructor. She's got about 40 years of experience as a Pilates instructor with some pretty highfalutin clients, I'll just say. And she recognized that she wanted to reach back to other women coming out of the military who also felt that sense of disconnect. And so she started a podcast called Sisters in Service. And she now not only is serving the women, but serving military family, men, anybody who has served in our military who wants to talk about their experience in and out of the military. That's what she does with Sisters in Service, which is amazing. Besides that, she now offers an online opportunity to work with her with her business called Small Space Pilates. And she will kick your booty in the nicest possible way on Zoom. You don't have to show up looking perfect. She has a no perfection policy. I'll let her take it from here.
I don't know what else to say, Yvonne. I think you said everything. I just want to add that my two passions are, anyone affiliated with the military, because I was a military brat. I was born into the Air Force. I was a military spouse, active duty military, and then veteran, and which prompted me to start my podcast. And my other passion is fitness. And when I got out of the military and realized, even though with 20 years as a communications project manager, no one wanted to hire me, I thought, let me start doing fitness. Not start, because I've been doing it as a part-time job, but can I make a living at it? And my husband said, well, let's see if you can do this. And I did. So, the people I serve in fitness, are those people that have never started and want to know how to start. Those people that started years ago and want to get back to it. Maybe there are people out there who have been suffering from a long-term disease and are just recovering, or maybe someone who's recovering from an injury. And so those are my peeps. Those are the people that I want to help. Those are the people that let's have a conversation and talk about how, we can formulate a program for you that fits you where you are now. So I love to say I meet people where they are, and then we walk together up that hill.
Love it.
I forgot to introduce her properly. She is the freaking fabulous Kat Corchado. Can we just say?
I love it.
We cannot let that go by. And the thing that's awesome about Kat is she's trying to help the rest of us be freaking fabulous too, or get back to being freaking fabulous.
Getting back to it. There you go.
Yes,
I like that.
exactly.
I like that. Yep. And Kat, thank you for your service. Very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Yes.
Regina.
Yeah. So this group, I think we're going to do something a little different with this group because you've all been collaborating together for a while. Let's talk about how, let me back up for just a moment and say, I love the comments about how we work with this generation, the new generation, in terms of helping them realize that everything doesn't happen on this little guy. And, that there's so much more to life and relationships than what we can get out of texting or even FaceTiming or Facebook or Zoom calls or whatever. That there's an old expression in the sales industry of getting belly to belly with people, right? That you're in the same space together. How can, or let's go back to how did you said that you have all been in collaboration for a time. How did that come about? Let's let people learn from how you did it. How did that work out? What happened? Bring all of you.
Technology is a huge part of how. Funny enough, if we're going to talk belly to belly, it didn't happen that way because
okay.
we are all across the country from each other.
Gotcha.
Kim and Donna are in Texas, and I'm just north of New York City. Jill's Long Island. Kat is Charlotte, North Carolina. And we've got some other compatriots in all the way across the way in Australia and Tasmania. And so the collaborations are happening worldwide. And I have to give credit to a little known platform called Clubhouse, where we all found each other during the pandemic. And we started going into rooms about podcasting. I think that was perhaps one of the things that drew us all together. Not everybody has a podcast or had a podcast at the time, but it was a podcasting community from my memory that kind of was the connection. And Kim was, popping in on a daily basis with this group. And we all got to know her, and then she roped us all in and is the ringleader here.
And is that why she's the princess?
Oh, she was the princess before.
Okay.
Yes. She's been a princess for a long time.
I just own it, Virginia. I just own it.
There you go. Nice to have royalty in the house.
Even at 57, I'm still.
I love it. So if there are folks who are listening to this who may be feeling like they'd really love to have a group like this to collaborate with and to see what kind of benefits could come from that. Yeah, I see you there.
Come on,
yeah,
come on.
What would you say to them about how they can turn relationships they have into collaborations?
The other amazing thing is it wasn't until I had met Kim before and Jill actually, but it wasn't until last August that we all got together for the first time in physically.
I was going to ask if you have ever all been in the same place.
Yeah, and it was quite memorable and quite amazing and
surreal, isn't it?
It is
when you have that first, and when you've known each other online for so long, and then you're finally in the same space. It's totally surreal.
I think what for me, Kim and I met in a previous group, and I was doing my first online webinar, and I was having technical issues, and Kim volunteered to be my co-host. And she joined me, and there was just a glitch in the system, and then Kim called in Jill to help also, and that's how my relationship with them started. It was, and we just got into conversation, and I kept whatever she why don't you try this? Okay, I'll try this, and I was seeking a community in marketing. I spent my whole life in marketing, and it the group that I was in previously, it wasn't meeting what my needs were. It wasn't, and I just clicked with Kim, and it took me about a while to figure out what Kim did, because I kept saying to her, "What do you do?" It just seemed she did everything, and so yeah, so Kim is the catalyst for all of us.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. And I'll say this too, we started off in Clubhouse, and it was back when Clubhouse was the Wild West. It was
Right.
it was exploding. They couldn't even manage the growth.
Yeah.
And for me, I went in because as a podcaster, you send out these episodes and you wonder, how did it land? How
Right.
did I reach people with what I'm talking about, with who the guest was? Like, how's this landing for people? And so I went into Clubhouse thinking, oh, this is a great opportunity to get kind of do a little R&D, like hear what other people are struggling with. And at that point in time, there were a lot of groups for midlife women that were very active in Clubhouse, and that was fantastic. And I will say that the side benefit of that is that, well, I was really nervous about public speaking at that time, off the cuff. I'm a trained actor, but I've always had a script. I've always been in character. There's been a rehearsal
Right.
process. There's been a lot of that. So to jump in on Clubhouse and actually raise my hand to speak and then speak
Right.
was so uncomfortable, and I was sweating, and it was, oh my gosh, it was so hard to do until I realized how low stakes it actually was. And what was really interesting was, because of all the people that were in Clubhouse and all the different rooms you could go into at any given time, it really helped with downloads of my podcast. For a while there, I was getting a bump in downloads. And I would pop into different rooms and meet new people all the time. So there was constantly being able to meet new people. But what it has turned into over time for me is a chance to go deeper with the relationships that I have made in there. And that's when the collaborations started to happen, is when I kept going to the same rooms over and over, or hosting rooms and having the same people show up over and over. That's when collaborations started to germinate between us,
I like that distinction, because it's not about I met this person once and I'm going to ask them to collaborate with me, kind of a thing. Although that can happen, it certainly can. But it is more about those relationships, right? Building relationships and then finding ways that you can serve one another through collaboration.
I think it's also a matter of trusting the person.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys, we can collaborate and we can like each other, but that doesn't mean that we're going to be good together in a collaboration. But I think when there's trust and you trust each other and you're willing to be honest with each other about what this collaboration is and go from there. And if you're on the same platform, if you're on the same vision, then the collaboration go forward. But if you have two different types of visions for this, then maybe now's not the time.
Yeah.
I think also piggybacking off of that, Kat, it's finding people that are your flavor. Like people that you really vibe with, who are on the same wavelength, who have the same mission or something similar, where you both have that call to reach out to somebody in a specific way, and how you're going to exponentially grow your relationship with that collaboration.
Yeah.
Regina, to get to your one question that you would ask is like, how can other people, find a community like ours?
Right.
Well, they can find ours and they can come to ours.
Yes.
We welcome everyone. But the thing is that when you're in a group setting and you're doing a workshop where you have a 2-hour, lots of meetings and workshops, and you're not saying anything because the conversation's not directed right at you. It could be somebody else that's going through something at that moment.
Right.
What you can learn from listening to what someone else is going through is is exponential, more so than anything that was in person that I ever went to. And I'm a huge networker prior to being online due to COVID. And the amount of growth I think that we can all achieve together as a community and as a group is amazing. And I think that, you know, Kat's got this wonderful fit together, it's stronger. What is it?
Fit together, stronger forever.
There you go. And as a group, I think that, you know, that's the wonderful part about it, is be able to support each other and you know, feel what someone else is going through because you're going through it too.
Very good. Appreciate that, Donna. Taking the opposite end of that scale, you know, you're feeling what somebody else is, I mean, you know, you understand what somebody's going through, right? What about that high end of the energy level that you get from collaborating? Talk to us about that. The synergy, the energy that's created from the synergy. How's that?
I'll start off on that,
right,
because Kat, she sent, I can't remember if it was a call or an email or what, but she was like, you know, we both have podcasts, right? And she said, do you maybe want to do a podcast together? And I said, well, I don't think I'm ready to do another podcast, because the back end work on the podcast is a lot. There's
Right.
the editing and all the things. I was like, but what about if we just did, like, if we went live together regularly, you know? And so that's what we ended up doing. And that became Salty Sisters. And that name came out of a conversation in Clubhouse. It just was it naturally bubbled up. I don't remember if somebody called us the Salty Sisters or if Kat said Salty. I have no idea. But the minute we heard it, we knew that was right. That was who we are. And every time that we show up for one of our live streams, I am just going to say, I walk away feeling like I'm just like, I don't care if anybody shows up. I'm like, I had fun. That was awesome. And that was a great conversation. And I feel like what we're doing has value and it's fun and it gives me energy. And so, you know, win, win, win.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yvonne, I have a similar story with my collaboration partner in crime. Our friend Linda Bonney and I were voluntold to have a collaboration podcast together, which we willingly obliged, because it really was a vision that I think almost everybody in our group saw that we were not yet privy to that. So it has been a wild ride for us, but it's a podcast about self-care and the growth that we have gained having just conversations weekly has been monumental for both of us in our motherhood and entrepreneurial adventures, because we find this time that we set aside for each other now weekly as actually a form of self-care, which we never would have actually, I think, applied to podcasting, with it being, like Yvonne, you said, the back end of it can be so heavy, but we were tasked with this opportunity to not have any of the editing or the things behind it. Just let it be what it was, a conversation between two moms doing what we do best, talking about self-care. And it had become, it still is, a form of self-care for us. So it just gives us this shift in our day. And it's fun because she's in Tasmania, so she's the opposite time than I am. So I'm starting my day and she's ending hers, or vice versa. So it's a great way for us to either get ready for the day or just close our day out. And it's been just so joy-filling and filling our cups of, I would want another collaboration to be just like this in that experience.
I love that analogy to self-care, because it truly is. If it's a good fit, like you said, you know, it is. Yeah, Folks, it's energizing. It's self-care. It's taking
I think we
care-
like to say it's not a heavy lift.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah,
I know
there you
that
go.
there are times when I have a recording to do with Yvonne and or going live and I might be under the weather, I might be tired, I might have a migraine, and we get started, we play our little music to get ready, and all of a sudden we just help each other. We bring
Yeah.
each other up. So it's very
Yeah.
cool.
And that
Absolutely.
actually happened. Kat had a migraine one day, and we had a guest coming on for that particular show. But the thing is like, so she came in, and before the guest joined us, and we were backstage and we're waiting to go live. Poor thing. I mean, she was just like, you could
Mm.
see it all over her. And the guest came in, and I said, "Hey, Kat's got a migraine, but I'm going to guarantee you right now that the minute that live button goes, you are not going to be able to tell." And Kat also plays like this groovy little funky music that we
Yeah.
listen to as we're coming in, and we both kind of dance. And sure enough, I mean, nobody ever would have known that Kat had a migraine that day. And little debrief at the end of it, and she was like, "Well, that was fun." It was transformative.
It's transformative. Yes, indeed. I bet your head did not hurt at the end of it like it did in the beginning.
Mm.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that idea of adding the music to your show also. That's really cool. Okay. So what just trying to think here where we want to take this. This has been really powerful so far, everything that you've had to say.
Can I brag for a minute?
Please do, Princess Kim.
I just want to brag at this crew because it is true. Jill is my right-hand girl. Like, she does so much, but she can stand alone. Like, I want to say this
I got
too.
that.
She rocks in her own right, so I have to put that out there. And Kat is freaking fabulous, like on her very own. And Yvonne is magical in her little like agitator presidency. And Donna stands alone as a givologist and teaching everybody how to love on their clients. But when you think collaboration and you add this crew together, I think exponential is too small a word for what happens. And I think that synergy and that just the outcome of it, loving on each other and being there for each other, I just can't put into words how proud I am of all of them and what I watch them do. I feel like I'm the luckiest princess on the planet because I have a front row seat. So this crew is amazing.
I love that.
You're the only princess I know, Kim, personally. I'm just going to say.
Good. No competition, thankfully.
We do have a queen in our group, and we do have a king in our group, but she is the only princess.
Very good. Very good.
A lot of royalty.
A lot of royalty. Yes. So one of the things I think that people mistakenly assume about collaboration, and not everybody on it, obviously, but I think sometimes people who've never really been involved in a good collaboration may be coming at it from the perspective of what am I going to get out of this? What's your perspective on that, ladies? Kim?
I knew you weren't going to be able to. I knew Kim was going to be like, coming out.
I saw her hand first, Yvonne. I'm sorry.
Yours might be an understatement with this soapbox. I think whenever you have been seduced by the word collaboration and it's been used wrongly, I think that is such a pain point for so many people because they come into it thinking that it's all about them when truly we get what we want out of it by serving everybody else in a collaboration.
Yes.
And so I'm a huge, like, You've got to have a collaboration plan. You've got to have a breakup plan in that. You've got to have like your planning part of it is so important, because if you cannot have the hard conversations to begin with, you're going to end up losing a relationship through collaborating.
Yeah.
And so coming in with the right attitude, you will know immediately, or at least I feel like this is true, you'll know immediately if someone is in it just for them. And if they are, can I just give one piece of advice, Regina?
Please.
Run! This is just my love. Like, collaboration truly is my love language.
Yeah.
Because I understand the value of it. And there's different levels of collaboration.
Yes.
There's different ways of collaborate. Like, there's so many variety, but don't let anyone stop you from a real and a high level collaboration based on past experience with someone.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I'll calm back down now.
you make me think of the analogy of it's like a marriage. It's you commit to that relationship the same as you do in a marriage. You commit to one another in this group that you're going to support one another and do these things to be supportive. But you're also committed to the group itself, to the relationship. So yeah, thank you, Kim.
Regina, can I? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Kat. And I think Yvonne will understand. Will you understand, Yvonne? Okay, you're willing to give up a second for Kat?
I was just going to say that it's good to, just like in a marriage, check in with the other person. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you still okay with this? Yvonne and I do that. Is this still fun? Is this still something we want to do? I'm like, yeah, let's keep it going. I'm like, okay. So you can be, you can collaborate and you can be in a marriage, but you have to check in with the other person and make sure they're okay too.
Exactly. Thank you. Yvonne. You
Yes.
had a comment. and I called on Kim first.
Oh, no. I was just laughing because I saw Kim. I knew that the minute you asked that question, I was like, oh, Kim's going to have something to say here. But I will add to it, though. I will add to it in that I think that I was somebody who was collaboration shy prior to starting my podcast. And, each podcast episode is like a little mini collaboration because I have an interview based podcast. So that kind of started to open the door for me. And then coming into Clubhouse, meeting these people, coming back again. And then having Kim talk to me about joining the mastermind group. I joined for 13 weeks originally, thinking, because I had an idea in my head that I wanted to host a summit where I'd have some of the people that have been on my podcast come and be speakers for the summit. And I had never done anything like that before. It was all going to be online. And I was a little nervous that I was going to get stuck in my own head with thought loops about how to get things done. And I thought, it'd be great to have people to bounce ideas off of. And joining the mastermind is, first of all, the best decision I ever made was to do that and to get that help. And because I have a hard time, I have been a person who's had a hard time asking for help. And then I was like, well, I can't leave now. This is too good. And that it started to open me up more and more the more I have collaborated and had good experiences with it. I've become more and more open to more collaborations.
Right.
And so there's that.
Excellent. Kim?
I'm sorry, I'm about to bust. I have to also share, though, about Yvonne coming in with her summit. She was thinking the summit would be like, I think she was thinking it would be tiny. She had over 350 people.
Wow.
Like,
congratulations.
At her very first one. And I think that's a big deal. And I think that needs to be honored, Yvonne.
Indeed.
Thank you.
So, Kim, was this your mastermind? Were you the originator of the mastermind?
I'm the instigator is probably the best way to put that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instigators. I love it.
I've been doing masterminds like really all over the world for like a long time. And
Nice.
I had a couple of years that I took off because my mom was, and I don't know how else to say except actively passing. Like she was in hospice and things. So I took a couple years off from business.
Right.
And I was basically lonesome again because all the masterminders were all doing their things. And I was like removed from that because of my mom. And so I came into Clubhouse actually just thinking I was coming in to hang out. And lo and behold, that's not where it stopped because I can't not, like, I feel like when we know something and we can share something that solves someone's else, like their pain, why would we keep that to ourselves?
Right. We have to act on that, don't we?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's actually where this part of the mastermind was born, was from that is, I can't just ignore that. I'm hearing things and I'm trying to ignore it at first. And then it was like, you know what? No, we're doing this. This is not my first rodeo. Let's go. Like, let's go. So
you have a mission.
I am on a mission, ma'am. I am.
I can tell. And when you know what your mission is, you must fulfill it. You must work at fulfilling it.
That's right.
Awesome. Anybody else have any comments on that part, and anything that's just you're burning to get it off your chest?
No, I'm just going to say that, Kim is very, I don't want to say sneaky. That's not the right word, but she's very, oh, hey, why don't you come over here? And I was like Yvonne, I was going to say no, because I had a bad experience, back-to-back experiences with masterminds.
Oh.
And even though I knew Kim, I was like, thank you, but no. And then I stopped because I'd been in so many rooms with Kim and kept hearing her. And I said, well, let's go. Let's see what this is about. So I said, yes, planning to be there for only 12 weeks. And then I got into the group and I thought, why am I here? Because Donna was there. Yvonne was like, oh, my summit. And I'm like, I just have a podcast. Why am I here? And yeah. And I decided to stay. So now she can't get rid of me. So just saying.
And through that journey, Kat is now she's a married woman 2 times over, because now she's got her marriage to her husband, and she is also married to the word entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
You found your home after the military.
I dabbled in, but I never called myself an entrepreneur. And finally, when I got my logo and I got my business, and I was like, I was in heavy like with the word entrepreneur. We were dating a lot. And then finally I just said, okay, let's do this. And we did.
I love it. Donna?
Yeah, what I wanted to add to that was it was like Kim was like the Pied Piper, and she started like blowing her flute, and it's like all of us just kept, going.
Yes.
And I had no idea, I had no idea what anything was going to turn into. I just knew that I had a previous experience that was not good. And it just didn't work for me. And I felt that, I was in business for a long time. And now it was like, I really wanted to make a change. And I just felt that she recommended something, and I said, okay. I had a very hard, I still have challenge, because I have to unlearn a lot of things, and do things a lot differently than what I had been doing since I started working. And so that's been a challenge, but I have seen the light at the end of the tunnel. And I have seen things. I've seen things change. And I will be the first to say this. It is a lot of work, and if you're not willing to put the work in for yourself, just, going along and attending is not going to do anything. And that was the other thing about, like when Kat was saying about she had some bad mastermind experiences. I needed to see results. I needed someone to hold my feet to the fire and make me accountable, because it's very nice to say, oh, yes, I really enjoyed that. And then you go on your merry way and you come back the following week and you've done nothing.
Right.
And I couldn't do that again. So it has been a great journey. Let's put it that way.
You remind me of what I tell my clients, Donna. I tell them that they need to put on their asbestos shoes because I'm going to hold their feet to the fire.
Sometimes it really is. It's very hot sometimes.
Very much so. Ladies, we have run out of time. We are at the point here where we're moving into our wrap-up round. And Yvonne, I'd like you to run that for us. Would you call on everybody for their final thoughts on collaboration and their contact information? And
Yes.
while you're doing that, I'll put their contact information into the public comments for folks.
Absolutely. And I will start with Kim White. Kim.
Oh, I don't hear Yvonne.
No, she froze.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So go ahead, Kim, and your final thoughts. And there she is. She's back.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're back, Yvonne.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Am I back? Can you hear me?
You're back.
Okay. Kim, what are your final thoughts on collaboration, and how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I am obsessed with collaboration because I have seen the results. It's not something that I talk about because I have no experience. It's because I have a lot of experience at them. And I love it to this day, even though I've been through some bad ones too. So I want to say that for the record. But I think everyone should try collaboration. And I think you should obviously vet who you're going to collaborate with. And have a plan, have a breakup plan so that you save your relationship. I love collaboration, and that's really the bottom line. I think that everyone should be collaborating if they want to grow their business in a great way. And I'm all about having a business that you own and that doesn't own you. And collaboration is one of the keys to that. So,
amen.
Fantastic. And I will pass them. Oh, well, Kim, how can people find you?
Well, don't take it the wrong way, but it's mysexybusiness.com. I want to make sure everyone knows that it is the right kind of sexy. It is a sexy business that you own and doesn't own you.
Perfect. And Kim not only talks the talk, she walks the walk. I will say, in the time that I have known her, I have watched the way she lives her life, and when she takes her time off, she takes her time off, and the rest of the time she is going full tilt. So Jillo, what are your final collaboration?
Well, I do have to say, I am so grateful that I've had the opportunity to learn how to do a good collaboration where it's not just an extension of a high school group project. Instead, it's like the real deal, and it's going to benefit not just me, but whoever I'm working with and whoever is going to benefit from a solution that we can offer. So I am so grateful for the opportunity to have examples around me from those of you who are in my community, as well as being able to participate, knowing the right way to do it. So that's my final thought on that. And I I know everyone can get in touch with me through my website, which is mamaoutspoken.com. Ways to email or connect on socials are there. So that's where you can find me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jill. And can everybody hear me? Because my internet has been kind of glitchy all of a sudden again. Miss Donna Bender, what are your final thoughts for us today?
Oh, this was wonderful. And just like everything else that we do, time just flies by when you're having a good time in conversation. And it's just that anybody who's listening, the thing that I'd like to say is seek out a community that you feel that you resonate with, and that you could be with like-minded people, because it will just make so much difference in both your personal and your professional growth. You can't do it alone, and anybody who thinks that they can is not going to grow at the capacity they can by being part of a larger group, and especially this one. But yes, so I'm a big proponent, and I do want to say something about Jill, because I look at Jill and I think about, she was the age that I started my company when I had my daughter, and I think if I knew then what Jill knows now and is exposed to now, I can't even imagine what she's going to be like when she's our age. I mean, it's just amazing. So kudos to you, Jill. You're welcome. And yes, people can reach me at donnabender.com, my website. And I'm on LinkedIn. It's Donna Bender. And my company's the Donna Bender Company. So yeah, that's how they can reach me. And I hang out. I hang out on LinkedIn Audio as well as Clubhouse. And yeah, feel free. I'd love to connect with people.
Fantastic. And Miss Kat Corchado, what are your final thoughts? By the way, Kat, no pressure, but Kat always tends to do these little mic drop moments. I just totally threw you under the bus, didn't I? Look at her face. Oh my goodness. Why did I do that?
Thanks a lot.
I couldn't stop
salty
myself.
Sister. Thank you. Oh, man.
No pressure.
I'm just going to say that as a child in the military, you have to collaborate and know how to approach someone to collaborate with you to be friends. But what I didn't realize is that it doesn't have to be heavy. I always thought it was on me, that I had to do the heavy lifting just for someone to like me as a person. So collaboration doesn't have to be heavy. You do have a say-so on both sides, what you like, what you don't like, what you want, what you don't want. And I think, the art of collaboration is something that was brought to me from these beautiful faces here, who my husband calls my other family. And we're surgically attached now. There's no way they can get away. So I think collaboration is awesome. You just have to make sure you know what your part is and what you want to do and how long you want to do it.
Awesome.
I forgot. You can also reach me at smallspacepilates.com or Kat at smallspacepilates.com. Let's have a conversation.
Awesome. And Miss Yvonne, your final thoughts. And she's frozen again. She's, have to forgive her, folks. She's having a little bit of internet issues today. Yvonne?
Yeah. Am I back now? It looks like
you're back. Let's hear your final thoughts. Bill, maybe.
Can you hear?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh dear. Go ahead. Okay, terrific. Well, my final thought is this, and it's not far from what Donna was saying. There is, I think we've probably all heard the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I have come to think that that's not quite right. That you actually can go faster together as well. That at least has been my experience. And now I'm kind of a collaboration-aholic. I am looking to collaborate with the right people, with that gut check feeling of like, ooh, does this feel right? Yes. Then go all in and make it happen. And the podcast is Late Bloomer Living. I can be reached at latebloomerliving.com. And we have the Age Agitators Club there for women, where we're making waves as we age. It is not too late, anybody, to start fresh from where you are today and go forth into a new adventure. So that'll be my final thought.
Awesome. Ladies, what a joy to have you all here today. Yes, Kim.
I'm sorry. I just want to say one more thing. I think that this is living proof of a collaboration because you invited us here, and I just want to give honor to that also, Regina.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us and allowing us the time to speak and giving us that space. So thank you for collaborating with all of us on
Yes.
this very thing.
It's been my pleasure. This is one of the joyful things that I get to do. So thank
It's
you.
been a real pleasure. Thank you so much, Regina.
You're welcome.
you.
And I have to give some attention here to Adam Rothenberg. Adam has been with us and making comments. I'm guessing that you all know him.
Hi, Adam.
Awesome. So thank you again, Yvonne, for accepting the offer to be a guest co-host today and for inviting this lovely panel. And I have enjoyed this conversation tremendously. Thank you again. And thank you folks for watching. We hope you'll come back. We're here on LinkedIn Live all the time. So come back and join us next time on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.